Okay, so in the previous session, we looked into how we can implement the back, like how we can write the APIs, the CRUD operation APIs, and login and sign up APIs using the fast API, Flask API, plus RESTful. And today's task would be to connect all those APIs to our front end application. Uh, so, yeah. So now everything is working. You can create a new tab as well and you can go to CD frontend. We are using this to import and to download all other necessary libraries which is required for front-end application, which will help us to communicate with the backend side of it. So first thing which you can install is Axios. So Axios is an way through which we can communicate. So it's a like a it worked as a bridge which connects the backend and the front end, and it helps us to communicate with different type of methods from the front end application to the backend application. And the whole purpose behind that use is to just connect the front end and the backend part. Also, before that, we are not defined. Yeah, okay. So first thing we need is an app.view file. So you can see that we have this router.link which is linking to this home and about, which you can remove if you want it to be. Just make sure you do not remove this thing. This router-view is an important thing through which the different components we will be making were connected to this main template. So this app.view is a parent component through which we are connecting different child components. So whatever the thing which you will put up here, which is, let's say in our case it's home and about, will be considered as the parent component and will be present everywhere in, like in every page you are in. So for an example, if I am in this home page, let's see, and if I am clicking on home about page, so you can see that all the other contents are changing, but again the same this thing which is this home and about network remains same in all those pages. Even if I create all other pages as well, that will also be the same case, because this is the parent component which is connected to different child components, and based on the router we are loading, it's changes its content. So now what we need is, let's say we need to define our. Yeah. Now another thing is how Vue.js CLI works is, so Vue generally help us gives a proper template in which for a particular child component we can write the HTML part, the JavaScript which is the logic, let's say script, and the styling. All those three things in a single component without needing to install or without needing to um, create multiple pages, like one page for login.html, then login.css, and then login.js. So instead of creating three different routes, three different pages to work on a single particular thing, we can do all those things in a single page using this Vue CLI. So in under this template part, we write down our HTML content. So the elements and all those things remain same inside the template. Then we have this script where we write the logic behind communicating with the backend on all those logics we can write, or any particular functions call and all those things we can write. And then we have the style. Just remember that whatever the style which you will mention here specifically in this particular app.view will be implemented in all those child components as well. So this is a parent component. So just make sure like whatever you are doing, just be sure like you are aware of all those things. Now let's do one thing. We will create a router link based on if we are authenticated or not. So what do you mean by that is, if let's say we are logged into our application, then we should be able to see certain navbar elements at the top. Otherwise, it should show us sign in and log in and all those pages. So is authenticated, and let's say user role is equal user. What is the router link to let's say slash user dashboard and user dashboard. And then we have another template which we can put is authenticated and we can remove this logic to log out. Sorry, a button which on click should implement the logout functionality. Log out. So the logic behind this is if we are logged into our web application and we have is authenticated and user role equals to user. So we will be seeing this user dashboard at the top navbar here. If we have also if we are authenticated, then we will be seeing this logout button at the top in the navbar section as well. Now we will write down the logic. So first script logic which we have to use is we have to import xuse. So xuse is a way through which we can communicate between different we will be communicating with the backend part. So we are exporting that. Then we have to define our default, and in that we will define some of the database which we are using. So one database which we are variable which we are using is authenticated and user role. These are the two values which we have used at the top if you've seen. Then is authenticated and this user role part, which we are defining it temporarily as null. And whenever a certain values will be filled to those, we will be seeing those changes. Now created is this dot check auth. So is whenever the parent and the particular any component will be loaded, any parent component or anything, what we are doing is we will run this particular function check auth. Check auth, what will it will do is it will just check through our local storage that certain values are present or not. If present, then we will make certain functionalities to be working. So any functions which we have to write, which will only be work under a particular case. Let's say we will call it specifically, like in this case, we write it down inside the methods thing. So let's say check auth, and then we can write down. Uh, so as we will be getting, if you have looked in previously, we will be getting token from the backend side and this informations which we will be storing in a local storage of our browser, which is the client browser where all those informations will be saved when they will be logging to our application. So now we will use those information itself to make sure to see like certain users are authenticated or not. So if the condition could be if token and user. So what we can do, this dot is authenticated equals to true, and this dot user dot role equals to user dot role. And if anything else, so we can do is authenticated equals to false, and this dot user role equals to none, which is we are just uh, nulling the condition if our particular condition does not match it. Next function which we are using is the logout function. So as we have seen, we have written down this particular thing. At click equals to logout. So logout is a function which we will define the methods. What it will do, it will just get first. We will receive the access token. So local storage dot remove item access token. Sorry, it should be get item. Then Axios. dot, and what type of method you are sending? So we are sending post method. So excuse dot post dot slash logout comma null, as we are not sending any data. Then in the curly braces, we send our header. So if we, in the previous session, we looked into how we send authorization header using Thunder client and all those things. But in this case, how we can say do it from the code side is this way. We define it in a headers authorization bearer. It is dollar access token, and the particular token will be sent to the user. Now this all those things are done. Now based on now what we are doing, if this request was successful from the backend, like the user is properly logged out, so we will just remove all those access token which we have saved in the backend in the local storage of the client, and then remove item user info, and this dot is authenticated equals to false, this dot user role null, and also this dot dollar route. So dollar router, you can name get the proper name from here. So we are exporting router from here. So that is the same name which we are using it here. So this dot dollar router refers to this one, where dot push, like we are sending the user to a particular route which could be sign up. So we are sending the user to a particular route, and then if we have caught or catch any type of particular error, console dot uh, error error, we can just display that particular error to the user. So now this is done from the front end side, which is the major basic thing which we have defined. So we have make our navbar like a dynamic one based on different roles we have defined. Based on different roles, a certain elements would be available to us to the user side, and from here itself we would be able to do logout and all those functionalities. Now the next thing,
Can you just repeat the script part, like the methods and all that?
so this
Yeah.
line here in the script is like we are just importing the library which we are using to communicate with the backend application. Next thing, this is a default method to like define any type of methods created and also we have different set of parameters. So data here, what under data, whatever you will return will be considered as a, like here you can define any data. So in like how in the Python you want to define a variables and all, there is local global variables which you can use anywhere. We have to define at the top or somewhere like outside the application, which we can use it anywhere else. But in this, we have to define it under this particular data parameter property, where we can define all those variables with their default value, which could be null, false, and all those things. And then we have this created property, which
Now,
what it
we have already done this, like our routes or our backend is handling this. So why are we adding
backend is
again?
handling different tasks and front end is different. So until now in the Mad one, what was the case is all those things were being handled by a single application like front end, back end, and all those things. Now front end is a very different component and back end is a different. We are running on two different servers. If you see, one is back end and one is front end. So back end is taking care of all those protection that particular user should not be able to do this, that, or those in the backend functionality in the backend side of it. But we also want that all those users should not be able to see those pages as well. So let's say I'm logged in as a normal user. I should not be able to see router links, navbar links to admin dashboard or admin summary or admin task. So like it, you can take it as a two-way authentication, like even if we are protecting the backend route and in the front end route as well. Uh,
Okay, got it.
Also the cases like we want like same application or same page should be shown to different should be shown differently to different type of users. So how to implement those things can be managed using this cons token is authenticated. Like based on this and user role, we can almost make sure like a single page component. If we are working on a single page component, we would be able to execute those things using these two parameters itself. Like if is it not authenticated, then do or show all only this pages. If a particular user role, then only show this all those neighbors and different components. So based on these two parameters, we can maintain our application in the front end side as well. Now, this is created property, which what it does is whenever the page will be reloaded. So when let's say I have come to this page, I refresh it. Now, whatever the function name which I have called or whatever the like any logic which I have defined under this particular thing would be called automatically. So if I show you, you can go. So what I've done is right click on it and go to inspect, go to network. Just I would refresh the page and okay, not it's not an icon request, but yeah. Uh, let's do one thing. Console.log. See, so I just loaded my refresh. I will refresh it again. See, I am seeing this hello. So whenever I am loading my page or going to one page to another, so at the back end, if there any changes happen or something, it automatically run this script at the back end automatically. We don't have to call it again and again manually, like clicking on a particular button or something. So this is being taken care of by this created part. Next, we have this logout button, logout functionality, which is just logging in and out from the front end as well. And we have linked it to a particular button. So these are the two tasks which we are done. Now, local storage, by the local storage, what I mean is if you go to this inspect, you will see this application option, and in the local you will see this local storage and local storage 8082, the URL under which your front end is running. Now here's you can see this key and the value pair. So these are the key value pairs and different informations you can save in the client side of your application. As access token is a very important thing which should be stored in the front end side, because we will be using that access token to be sent along with any type of request we are sending. It could be uh, post request, put request, different type of request, whatever we are sending. So we are storing it in this local storage part. So is it clear now?
Yeah, got it.
Now let's say we will create a new page which could be login and the sign up. So one way is you can define all the so assets is a very important folder where you can define your any particular static images and all those things. Other than that, do not try to create any particular view files or all those things. For those, you can create a new folder, or you can use existing components and view folders to put all your view file. So for demonstration, I will create a new folder. So let's say auth, under which I will be implementing and storing login user and user sign up page. So just login user dot view, and that's it. Also, the naming convention that we have to use in the view CLI is first thing, it should be of uh, it cannot be a single word. It could be two words, three words, or something, but it should be two words. By two words means like uh, capital to at least like login user. So L is capital and U is capital. If I just simply do this, let's say U small, and if I try to run anything or particular thing, currently we are not seeing any error. But let's say if it is currently with the smaller username, so we will see what will happen. So what we can do is simply We will just create a form. Here, what you can do instead of action, now you can use @submit dot prevent equals to the function name which you will be using to send data to the backend application, and then under it you can define different things. So for I am creating username. Now, like in the Mad one, you would be using this particular name equals to tag in the input box to store all those values to a particular key. In this here, we use v dash model. So input type is text. For styling, you can use this. So v dash model equals to username. So whatever now you will write in the input box, that is any username, password, or any information that you will be writing it down, will be stored under this particular variables. Password, let's say password one, password. And then we will simply give a button which you can type it as submit. So based on this, it will a form will automatically understand that whenever this button will be clicked, it we have to run this particular application. Now if you see, we are getting this error, login user password is in underline and all those errors. So to sort those out, we will define it in a bit form, and then div. And in the previously in the Mad one, you would be using this thing, if condition, to write any if conditions on all those things. In this view, we use v dash if you want to use for v dash for, v dash while, and all those different functional are present using this v dash if. Error message, and the way to show a particular variable is remains same under under curly braces, enclosed under curly braces, double curly braces. Now we will write the script for this. So script import excuse from excuse, that would remain same. Next thing is defining our data, where all those information which we are putting under the input form will go on data return. So we have this username which would be null and an empty string, password, and then we have this error message as well, which will also be for now it will also be null. Next thing we will write down is all our methods. So async. So we are running a async call here, login user, which means until it will wait for response, and based on that it will try, and it will run asynchronously. So you can shift to different pages or all if that is not linked to per certain this function or all, and you can type and do all those things. If you just mention particular without async, so we have to depend on it. Wait, we will wait. Axios.post dot slash login. Now we have to send data. How to send data is comma curly braces. Now under the curly braces, define the key and their values. So this dot username here, this dot username refers to this particular variable, this property. Same password, this dot password, and in response we would be getting access token and user. So response dot data from the response we are getting, and we can also log user. Now how to set particular, like store all those information in the local storages. Local storage dot set item user comma json dot stringify. Why we are using stringify is, if you look into our app login resource, we are sending the data in this particular format. So to store it in a proper format in the local storage, which we can reuse again to access those information. We have to use this stringify thing. So set item, and it is only in the case if we are sending storing a particular variable which contains like a key value pairs and all. And then we have this access token. Now if user dot role is equal admin uh, this dot dollar router.
So this method will like return a promise, right? Yeah,
Which method?
the async function we are
Yes.
writing. So this will return a promise. Async
It will
function,
return, yeah, it will return a response, which in our case it's this thing, access token and user info.
so it will not return a promise. Uh,
My the promise what
like from theory lectures, so told like async function usually returns a promise, and we need to resolve the promise.
in our case it is not sending us a promise.
I think the dot stringify uh, is resolving the promise, I guess. Hello.
Yes. So promise is like so we can say a promise is resolved when a particular function is run successfully. So in our case, what you can say by promise is if it is run successfully, so we would be getting these two informations. If we have if we have gotten any particular errors or something, we would be receiving errors. In our case, it could be invalid user and password and all those information. So in async call, it could be like if there are two main ways a promise can be complete. One is like the operation was successful in our case, which is a login, or the operation fails, which is any error is occurred.
So like basically the JSON.singify is resolving the promise, I guess.
No, this async login user is resolving the promise. This JSON.stringify is just storing the values in a proper JSON format. So let's say uh, we receive a particular variable user and it has some values ls again age comma 30. Now in our case for the for with this JSON.stringify, what it does is it usually converts to and from the like objective JavaScript object which we are receiving in a proper format which we are able to read it back, which are storing the key and the values in a proper format. So it's not resolving any promise or something. Usually, I think this one is making sure, or will have to confirm just a minute. I'll confirm. Yes, so stringify does not resolve a promise. It's not like asynchronous and does not return a promise or something. It just runs synchronously, like instantly in the current line of the code, or and converts a JavaScript object to a JavaScript JSON string. So it just converting this user value, which is in JavaScript to a JSON string. So it's not resolving any promise or something.
So,
Okay.
what is the need for like, why do we need to create a async function if we
Need
just
for
use a
our async
synchronous?
function, which asynchronous task. Uh, so
We are just logging the user. We can do that synchronously, I guess. And with the combination of async and await, it's like we are just, it is happening synchronously in a way.
yeah, so let's say in our case for this page we can just not if even if we not use the async functionality, that is also fine. But some way JavaScript is like a single threaded, which means that it can only do one thing at a time, and it can make some of the operations slower. So now let's say you want that instead of waiting or blocking something, you use a asynchronous thing which will run parallelly on the back end without uh, making all other functions uh, will not hinder them. So in our case, here you can remove it, but let's say we have a page we are maintaining CRUD operations. All right. So now if there is a you are there, you can do multiple tasks. You can create a user, you can view all those informations and all. So now in our case, let's say you run a particular task, which is which is doing something, let's say creating a new user. Now in the same page, you can also see all the existing users. So you are clicking on it and it will send a GET request to the backend. So now there's no you want that it should whatever the request which you have sent for post should work, but it does not hinder my get request method. So there you can use this async call or await call that will do your work and will run a new task at first time.
Okay. Okay, got it. Also, like the SEO's API also won't work, I think, without an async function.
What?
The SEO's post request, the SEO's API won't work without a async function, I think.
Slash VLC custom show error. Slow down this. This for now. Copy this and paste it here. Same way, same thing you have to do it. Here as well. What was the user? Okay, now let's say we have this login user thing. We have to define it. We have to define a particular route to it. How we can do is just I will do simple way. Just add a comma, copy thing, add a path slash login, assign a name to it. So let's say login and the component login user. So see if I'm not getting a suggestion even as a because view does not receive the single word, it will give you an error like it requires it should be multi-word or something. Now if I try to write, it should receive again. Not receiving. So another way is import login user from dot slash auth slash login user dot view. If there is no error, yeah. Now we have defined the route. So this is how you can define a particular route in your function. To test it out, you can just change to slash login. Yeah. and we are able to see a proper login page. And now let's do a call, a course error options slash, yeah, correct, slash, yeah, slash API 401. If you can see message invalid user, okay, login failed, try again, admin, admin, we are getting the information. Now let's do it again. Recent call. And see, test. We have been redirected to slash admin dashboard. We are receiving this information. Based on this, if everything is working fine, we should be able to see all those information here as well. So see, now we have this access token and this user information here as well through the login. Another issue is like saying which you also said like access does not work without async call or another thing. It will gives an error or it will not wait for task. So in this case, what happened was uh, just a minute, just give me a minute. Hello, Prathamesh. Hello, am I audible? Hello,
Hello. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Any doubt in this part? Like why we are doing this local storage or uh, any particular doubt specific to login user?
No, 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 not as of now.
Okay. So now let's say we work on. So now you can see like we are able to see these options, a user dashboard and logout. And based on logout, it should work. So yeah, we have been logged out. All those information which was present here also been removed, and we have, if you see in the backend terminal as well, the logout was has worked properly. So based on this, how we have this is how we have defined a particular login user.view. Same way we can define a sign up user.view. So sign up uh, user.view, we will copy the same thing. We will do some addition. So username, password, we can here add email and repeat username, email, username, password, email, and sign up user slash sign up email this dot in. Am I audible, right?
Yeah, yeah. You are.
Okay. Sign up. Now, if this part is particularly successful, we will just route them to slash login. And same way, we will define it here. Sign up, sign up, sign up user, import. Now we have defined Mr. Now let's log in as user 2, user gmail.com, user 2. We will see the network. Just send. Okay, okay. Now this is how you can do an inspect element. So to do an inspect, just go to network and see all the requests are working fine. Click on this. You can see this payload. Payload means what, like what you have defined it here. This particular variables are payload, which are being sent to the backend. And you can see that all the information which you have filled is sent properly. Then the response. user created successfully, which you can also show it to the user. Now let's do uh, user 2 and user 2, and it should have worked. And yeah, user dashboard. User 2 is logged in successfully. To confirm, we can go to local storage and see ID, username, and its role. We are able to see all those information here itself. So this is how you can implement your sign up and the login functionalities in the front end side, and this is for authorization part in the front end side, like how to implement all those things in the front end itself. Now we will move forward to sign up CRUD operation implementation. So before this, any doubts in the sign up or login, you can ask. Any particular issue or any functionality you have a doubt on, like how to implement that related to authorization, you can ask.
No, no doubt.
Next we will cover is Next we will cover is a category management. So we have, as we you have already see, we have created a database of category which have ID and the name, and we will create a particular page inside this. Let's say category manage.view. From here, our objective would be we should be able to do all those CRUD operation from here itself, and also we should be able to implement search functionality in the front end. So we would be implementing search in the front end itself. Now there is no need to written down a particular function in the backend in the like how we were doing in the Mad1 to write down a particular search API and send that particular query and all, as we are now using JavaScript. So the advantages are one, it reduces the response time as we are handling it in the client side, so it's pretty much fast. It's more dynamic based on how fast the user will type, it will automatically adjust and it will gives the particular result to the user uh, as soon like in few milliseconds. It reduced backend load as we are not calling search functionality and all in the front in the backend server, so it reduced some of the loads from the backend itself. And it's also easy, and we can do all those tasks which we were implementing in the backend can be done it here as well. So we will do category management. For my case, I will be implementing like create, read, create, update, and delete in a single page. If you want, you can create all those things uh, in different pages as well, like however you want it to be. First thing at the top, we would be giving is a search bar. So model equals to search query. Whatever the query the user have, he can type it there. So we will name it as search categories, and based on input. So as soon as we will start typing something in the input box, it will run this particular function which is filter categories simultaneously. So it will not wait for enter or any particular button. As soon as we will type, it will automatically start working and implementing all those functionalities. Next thing which we will be doing from uh, is giving a form to create add category, where we would give an input form v dash model new category name placeholder, enter category name, and it is a required field, which means if we are clicking on the submit button, it should be free filled and not should not be null, so it will take care of that. Submit and add category. Now we have the form done. We will add a table below it. which will show us all the existing categories which present. So we will add a v if condition, filtered categories dot length is greater than 0. So if the length is greater than 0, then we will show the table content and all those things. Otherwise, we will add a else condition where we will show no categories present or this type of information. And then we have this name uh, and actions. This is the t head for t body. Here we will write a b for loop. So b dash 4 category in filtered categories, and the basis of implementing for loop means like a primary key which is a major differentiator between this for loop is category.id. So it's a we will be using it as a primary key to differentiate. And then td, we have a input box type text v dash model category dot name disabled equals to category dot id not equal editing category id. So now what is the scenario here is, as soon as the user will click on the edit button, he will be seeing the name of the particular category, like the particular category name where it was presenting. It will be converted into an input box where the user can type and give new name to the particular category. So category dot id not equal editing editing category id, and at click start editing the category, and you can name the button as edit. Next button which we will be giving here is, so we have add a v else at click save category category save button delete category category delete, and where we are adding a t table div v else p no category is found, and that's done. Now we'll write the script part of it. So I will complete the script, and I will now for this particular part I will first write down all those functions. Then as a part of demonstration, like showing each function working and all, there I will explain you each and every functions and every logic behind writing this particular thing. So just please wait for a minute. Same thing, we are importing XCOs. Next thing we will use is export default data return return, and we will save all the categories which we will be receiving in a categories table. So new category name empty, editing category id as null, filtered category id is null. So now the first thing, whenever we will run a get request, we will save all those particular categories inside this particular variable. Now, whenever we will do search, we will whatever the condition that will set. So if there is no nothing present, uh, the filter categories would be the exact copy of this categories variable value. if there is a particular query which we have run, based on that particular response, this particular variable value will change. So we are using this to showcase to the user and all those information, but the original values would be stored under this particular categories value. Now we have this mounted function, which is whenever we will load this particular page, it will run this particular this load categories function. Then we have this methods async load categories. We will have a try const access token equals to local storage dot get access token, and then const response equals to uh, await axios dot get authorization bearer dollar access token, and this is dot categories equals to response dot data. This dot filtered categories equals to this dot categories. So as soon as we have got a value, we have stored this particular value to this particular variable, and as at the starting there would be no filter or anything would be applied. So we are storing the same value here itself. So we should have then catch error console dot error. That's it. First thing, go to login admin password. Here, let's say we have to define this, right? On router manage category, manage category manage, import category manage from dot slash auth slash sorry component slash category manage auth. Okay. No category sign, let me see, network, yes, yeah. So now you can see we are able to see the ID of it, and currently we have not written down the other function, but currently this we are able to run the get request, and that is working correctly. Next thing we will write down is filter categories, so which will work the search part. So const query equals to dits dot search query to lower case.
Uh,
Yeah.
like I have a doubt. Can I ask you?
Yes, yes, sure.
Uh, So like you just gave the path like before also and here also in the get SEOs get. So this is the absolute part in the like this is local path.
The, so
So when we deploy, so this will be an issue, right?
so in this type of application, the deployment process works is first you have to deploy backend function. So when you will deploy the backend, you will get a URL, general URL, where the server
Okay.
will be running. That the URL which you will get, you have to paste it here and like remove it with a local variable URL, and you can change it to the one which you have where your backend is deployed.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is you have to do.
Okay. So we can store the URL variable,
Yes. Yes.
and
After this, I will like currently, if you are seeing like we have to manually define in each and every page this particular URL, right? We
yeah.
can do it. We can define it in a single page main.js, where once it is defined here, we can just have to define just write down this particular part, which is the API, and this link will remain same in the single page. So that we will look in a bit. Any more doubt? Any other doubt? Like hello.
Oh, not out.
Okay.
Yeah, only one.
So now we are writing filter categories where what we are doing is first whatever the query we are writing, we are converting it to a lower case, and then we will apply. So this dot filtered categories is equals to this dot categories dot filter. We are running on categories. Category dot name dot to lowercase same. We will convert that also in a lowercase format. Includes query. And that's it. If we now check search root z, now see if I run like trying to search any letter in between of it as well, so that is also working. In capital it is working as well. In any format like capital or lowercase, both are working. If I type something else, it's so see it's very quick, and it does not sending any backend request, so it saves time, and it's also looks good from the client side of it. Like they are not have to wait for a period of time to, because as your database would increase, you want to reduce your backend dependencies as much you can, and depend whatever the major task which you can execute itself from the client to dashboard, that is the preferred thing. Next we will write down is start editing category. This dot editing category id equals to category dot id, and that's it. Now what we are doing, now let's say if I click on edit, see this particular which was previously not clickable and I was not able to do and enter something. Now just after clicking on edit, I am able to enter a particular any changes to it and do stuff. So this is the function which is taking care of that. Now we will write down an async add category functionality. So what we will do, try first access token local get access to fonts response await access dot post slash API slash category, then name this dot new category name, and we have a header to send as well. So headers authorization behavior dollar sys token. Based on our response, what we will do is console.log response.data res.new category name equals to null, and we will run this load category function again, which will load any newer um, if we have console.log error. So now this is done. So once a minute, just right here. Now we will also do one thing. We will predefine the Axios route in our case to default one, so we don't have to manually type it again and again. Uh, so, so the way to do is you can import Axios from Axios here, define base base API URL. In our case, it is this one, and then Axios Axios.defaults base URL equals to base API URL, and we put something. Now let's try, but never used. Uh, it is dollar. Let's say, see, it has created it successfully. If we check our database as well, we are just being created successfully. So now we have defined this, and if you can see that I have not written any URL here, I've just written the API endpoints and not defined the proper uh, the server link here itself. So now we can't. So this is how you can define a particular base URL, and that will automatically take care of uh, which will save some of your times, and you don't have to copy paste this particular URL again and again. So this is we have done for add category. Next thing which is remaining is let's say delete category, async delete category, category, same thing will run. You can just be from here, step here. Now the things will that will change is values will remain same. Here we will send ID uh, category dot ID and values this category work 404 that request. Let me see. Code. comma. Give just a minute. Have to turn off the. Yeah. Oh, got it. This is also fine. Just have to do 401 unauthorized missing authorization error. Should set before this. Yeah. Now into work. So the problem was like previously we were writing get method and uh, get method where uh, we just have to send the headers part. But now we are here sending the authorization header and the data, which is our category ID. So there is a particular format which is first we have to define the headers and then insert it the particular data which we are sending, and it will be sent. If you see, okay, that is loaded. Let's say which we added 401 unauthorized tokenization. Well, now here I press and delete what I did send. See, reload response category deleted successfully. Now the next thing which is required, save category. Um, this is going to save email ID and the name category. What is the what? Let's save routes. Click on save. Missing on uh, data we okay. Yes, it's roads. Road. So uh, now based on this, we have implemented search categories, um, search functionality, category name, and all those CRUD operations as well, like create, read, and add. So this is how same you can also implement and integrate your application to the front end side. And if you're facing some of your doubts, you can take help of ChatGPT or any other API to know like what type of errors you are getting. It's allowed to use like ChatGPTs and all to solve your doubts and to know what error has happened and how to solve it. That is fine and you can use it. But using chat GPTs to completely write your function, uh, that is not recommended.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Any doubt in CRUD operation part or something?
Not as of now, but I think many doubt will arrive once I start writing on my own.
Yes. Got it.
I,
What anything that is left? Let me see. That we can. Yes. Okay. One thing which is left is right now, if you have seen, there is a particular scenario. Let's say this manage category. Even if I log in as a normal user, if I know this particular route, I would also be able to go to this particular route based on like just entering it manually here, and I would be able to do that task as well. So, so the way in the front end, there is a way through which we can save like we can protect our routes as well. So the way is router dot before each to comma from comma next, which is uh, from which page we are coming to, or like when we are going to one page to another. So it knows like from which page we are coming and from which page we are going. And next is we can control its growth. So its user role equals to local storage dot get item as we have used in app dot py here. And let's say if 2 dot meta dot is admin and then user user const user equal user dot role is not equal admin, we would just do next. Here we can define the path where we should be sent if we are trying to do query unauthorized equals true. Else, if everything is fine, we will just move ahead and go. Now, as we have defined now here, what we can do, let's say where whatever the route which you want to protect, you can add a meta condition that meta is admin true, which means that it should only be able to load it by like a type of user whose role is an admin or something. So now let's do a testing of this. We will log out user one. This one. I have been logged out successfully. Now I will try to manually type manage category and see unauthorized equals to true, and I have been redirected to the login page. So this is how I have been protected. I can protect my routes by using this defining the simple lines, and for whichever routes you want it to be protected, you can this use this meta condition. You can add all other conditions as well. If you want certain conditions, you can add other if conditions in between this router before each part and use it in your case to different to like protect user from different scenarios. So this is also an additional thing which you can do to protect your user and your making your application more protected for the users. Doubts in this part, like router or before each and this.
So like it is kind of redundant. Like this is we are also doing the same thing in backend also.
In the
So like,
backend, we are like, yeah, we are doing it all those things like in the backend as well, like implementations and all, or get requests and all. But also from the look of a user, if you see from perspective, if I'm not allowed to go to that particular page or execute all those things, so why I'm seeing that page or why I'm able to, or these are all vulnerabilities. Even if I am able to log in, or if like hackers try to find all those vulnerabilities, like finding out all those routes and see if there is anything left out, even if by mistake if any particular route on the backend is not protected, or if we get a proper way to bypass that particular thing, so that is also another case. So just it is a way to protect both front end and back end. Backend,
okay,
make sure that your implementation will not happen. Front end is it will not show to the user as well. So perspective to user as well. You want your application to be as clean as it can get. Like any unwanted things should not be displayed to user at all.
okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it for this session.